like and subscribe. What is the worst place you had sex? Outside on a blanket by a lake. Sounds romantic, right? The mosquitoes thought so too. Hot leather sofa. I'm still stuck to it to this day. Did they ever call you back to cast you? Edit my first awards. Thank you, kind strangers. You are beautiful. A construction site on a windy day. Sand and dust everywhere. Edit. Holy smokes. I can't believe this blew up. Thanks for enjoying this short story about me getting sand in my ass crack. I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough, and irritating, and it gets everywhere. Toolshed in the backyard of a house in Hawaii. Naked on my hands and knees going at it, when my guy says and brushes something off my back. Feel something land on my forearm, and see a huntsman spider as big as my hand scuttling down my arm, and into the shadows. I scream and sit up, and see the ceiling of the tool shed has even more huntsman spiders. Crawled out of there like Gollum, and hid in the bushes. Made him bring me my clothes and shake them out hard, before I took them from him. It was on the edge of a cliff, but it was such an awkward position, that my knees hurt from being on the ground. The scenery was beautiful though. Did the sheep push back harder, because of the cliff? While sitting on a tree stump that was home to a colony of termites. That did not end well. Yeah, I hear that they love wood. In the woods, the I'm flying insects love to be up in your face. Lot of outdoors for a 14-word story. In the woods, with about 50 young bulls that were very interested in everything that was going on. We sneaked in and out of that field about 3 times to try and shake them off, but as soon as you make a sound, they all come running over to watch, with no concept of personal space. We ended up making a barrier out of branches to try and hold them off, but the just broke right through it in seconds. It was like Shaun of the Dead, but the zombies only want to lick you instead of eat you. Have you ever been licked by a bull? It feels like someone stroking your back with a fish, dipped in egg whites. I would say I'm never doing that again, but we went back probably 7 or 8 times. Luckily the cows were always distracted by some sheep in the next field. This is one of the many joys of having parents that don't knock before entering a room. Believe me, if I could not in front of a mooing audience, I would. Edit. Just to clarify, the bulls were spectators, not participants, despite how hard they tried. Edit again. Thanks to you/Kane_fan for an accurate depiction of the event. https://www.reddit.com/r/animals/beanbra/comments/ou2u9n/a /dog and /_his/_best buddies. Edit again. It was in the middle of the day, yeah. But we went there one evening too, and my god, that was scary. Nobody told me how to deal with bulls. Do you run or stand your ground? I just lifted my GF over the fence into a neighbor's garden, because they were getting agitated, and one put its head between my legs, and chucked me about 4 feet off the ground. Not doing that again. My childhood house had an enclosed porch that was level with my parents' bedroom window. It's hard to explain. You couldn't see into the porch from the window, but if the porch windows were open and the bedroom windows were open, you could hear everything from either room. So my now husband and I were trying to have sex in that porch, having opened the windows cause it was hot AF. My parents usually never opened their window, and it was past 10, when they usually went to sleep. We weren't trying to be loud, but apparently we were. After we were done, I checked my phone, and I had 5 missed calls, and a text from my mother saying we can hear everything, and please at least use a condom. We didn't acknowledge it at the time, but my mom got drunk a few years ago, and told my aunt the story, and said she was worried she was hearing the conception of her grandchild. What is worse than hearing your parents have sex? Hearing your kids have sex. The back of a Volkswagen. Beach. Sandy balls and box. Bugs in my dog turds close by. No thanks. Black ball. After a drunken night on 6th Street in Austin, girl and I were walking down Red River Street. She drags me in this bushy grassy area. We go at it, finish, call an Uber to West Campus, continue going at it. The next day, we are super itchy. Come to find later it was poison ivy. Got it all over our genitals. Fun times. 10/10ths would do it again though. At my so's house, in their garage, over the freezer, while their entire family is home. At my friend's place, after having 8 to 9 shots of vodka we decided to bang each other. We removed our clothes quickly, and got into cowgirl position. Couple seconds later I remembered she puked on the floor, and my back was lying directly on it. Didn't move from there, until we changed positions. Good times. In the pool. Water is not a good lubricant. Yeast infection. Asterisk 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 bonjour asterisk asterisk asterisk. A long time ago back at my club Penguin Igloo. 3 AM leaving the club, got lucky but we didn't have the patience walk to one of our places. So we stopped walking home, and did it in a park. Walked past the park the next day, to see it was actually a graveyard D. Not me, but a friend of mine had sex with a girl in the helicopter of McDonald's play place. He's never going to live that one down. I once had sex in a helicopter. Him at parties. A campground shower. People came in the bathroom, while in the throes, and we had to just stand still, like we were avoiding a raptor attack, until they left, because they otherwise would have heard the bull slapping passion from behind the dinky stall door. Did I mention I was bent over, blood rushing to my head and water in my face? Still with the guy though. He's a charmer. Sounds like a good time. Also a nice friendly reminder, to wear sandals in public showers. There's this one time during which my ex and I both got really horny in the middle of the countryside. We headed for a small forest, took a quick walk in it, and did the deed in a small clearing. Sex was good, but while putting my clothes back on, I spotted this camo painted hunting camera that's triggered by movement. It was of course pointing at us the whole time. Let's just say that this poor guy lost his footage. Just so you know, my trap cameras upload and have an SD card so. A public park. It was in high school, and it was like 6 AM. There was no one there at least, but still. Not sure if it counts, but I once had a sleep paralysis, wet dream. It was terrifying. You were raped by a demon. Disabled toilets in a zoo. Looked up to see 2 monkeys watching us through the window and wanking. I am not sure if this counts, because we did not get very far. But in a Burger King parking lot vertical bar I was like 15, and we both had very involved parents. He had a car, so we would park it someplace and hook up in the tiny little two-seater. I was sitting astride him, and most of my clothes were off when he froze. I looked over my shoulder and the once abandoned parking lot was abandoned no more. A family of 4 were just staring at us through the windshield. We did not know what to do, so I just put my shirt back on, and we drove away. Edit. So apparently the fact that he had a car makes everyone assume this dude was way older than me. He was a grade ahead of me. His car was as old as he was and barely ran. He had gotten it when he turned 16. I was not hooking up with a middle-aged man. We were both under 18. On a hike in a wildlife refuge. We went off the trail to a more remote area. Was all fun and games till I got stung on the was after the event had ended, when I was briefly exposed. The little went right at me. We joke about it regularly. I'd say it comes up monthly. Just out of the blue she will say, hey, remember when you got stung on your penis? Yes, I remember and will never forget. Bunk bed 100%. I've had one all my life and let me tell you, when you're on top and going to town you can't sit up, or you smack the out of your head. She can't get on top cause she smacks her head. It's just a terrible time. Pun intended. A tree house that was actually a plywood shack on 6-foot stilts. It was pretty old and the plywood was splintery, so he laid down an old towel for me, you know, like a gentleman. Also it was too small for me to fit in any direction, so my head stuck out the door. I stared at the sky and just waited for him to be done. And that's the story of how I lost my virginity. A close second would be the bed in his semi-abandoned house full of the semi-abandoned hoarded belongings of his mother. But that's a different story. In the backseat of my car. We were parked out by a meadow one night, and it was annoying, because cars kept stopping, for whatever reason. Can't two people just pretend to watch the stars in peace? Backseat of her born-again Christian dad's car. We broke the backseat, and left a lingering weird teenage hormone sex smell in the car. He was edition. My wife once thought it would be cool to try and give me a hand job with a snowball on a trail in the woods. I see snow is scratchy. Edit, this being my breakout comment feels much better than an snowball hand job. Edit 2, we'll try softer, fresh fallen snow and report back someday. Bottom of cliff next to the ocean. Turns out I have an allergic reaction to coral and my back was scratched up from it. It was windy, wet, and itchy. Runner-up is a movie theater. I fingered a girl during midnight mass seated in a packed cathedral when I was 14. I bet confession was nuts. Worst as in unpleasant, a Thai basement apartment in Kingston, Ontario. Worst as in likely to upset people, 6-year-old nephew's nautical themed boat bed. Same girl both times. Once in a, only nearly, empty train carriage. Just sat on his lap facing him in a hiked up dress. All fun and games, until you pull into a station and there is a crowd of people on the platform looking directly at you through the window. TBF me and this particular XBF were savages, when or do it anywhere. Once in what we thought was an empty hotel ornamental gardens, we realized after that some dude was watching us from his balcony with a glass of wine and a cigarette. With a glass of wine and a cigarette. That man can't even argue he was just passing by. He was getting comfortable for the show. Lost my virginity in the middle of the woods. 0/10 would not recommend. Why do people like car sex? It is awful. Not comfortable, cramped and hot. Some guy's creepy basement in a sex swing. Oh so mellow guy and sex swing makes me so anxious lol. I don't recommend on top of a piano. Very uncomfortable and not at all the experience we envisioned. Was it not grand? Sigh. I was 15. On my grandma's couch. She was across the room, between sitting and going back and forth outside to smoke cigarettes. And to make it even worse, it was anal. No, I am not that disrespectful anymore, and that loser cheated on me many times. Sorry mommy. Edit, just to clarify, she did not see it. Well I'd stop and act asleep under the blanket half naked, until she went back out to smoke. Grandma D backquote knows everything. You've been visited by the ghost of a very important man. Pay your respects by liking and subscribing, and he'll grant you 3 weeks of good luck.